Welcome to Yoga Mama Online. Today's practice is a postpartum yin flow. So we will need a few props just to make sure that you're extra safe and comfortable. You want to have a blanket, a couple of blocks, and a bolster, kind of our usual prop combination. And we're going to begin on hands and knees. So you can make your way there, and I do recommend a blanket under the knees. And we'll take just a couple rounds of cat and cow just to get the spine a bit warmed up. So as you exhale, round your spine. And inhale, take your head and tail back. Exhale, round your spine, head and tail down. And just continue this familiar flow for the next few breaths. And letting your mind follow your breath into your body. And also following that release with each exhale, letting go. And now inhale, take the head and tail back once more into cow pose. Pause there. And begin to walk your hands forward slowly, letting your heart melt toward the floor. You can either let your forehead or your chin rest down in puppy pose. In yin, it's usually called melting the heart. Now, if this is too much, feel free to put either a bolster or your blocks underneath your forearms. And maybe another prop under your head, just so you still get the stretch without it being too intense. We will be here for about 2 minutes. So you just want to make sure that it's not causing discomfort, it's not causing stress or a feeling of strain. And once you've found the variation that works best for you, just let yourself sink into it. And let go of everything that's not on your mat. Enjoy the opening of your underarms and chest. And be sure to keep your feet touching down. And if you start to feel like you're kind of crashing forward, try leaning your hips back a bit, maybe even stepping the hands back a bit. And once you find a comfortable, steady place to stay, just be with the breath. Thoughts will come and go. And allow yourself to just keep coming back to feeling this pose, feeling the breath. And letting the sensations of this posture be an anchor for your mind in this moment. Just a little bit longer here. If any of these poses cause discomfort, come out of them early. And try changing them a bit, rearranging them until you find the variation that feels just right for you. Now point your toes back and begin to slowly walk or slide the hands back, letting your hips sink toward your heels, coming into child's pose. Now, depending on how your chest feels, you might want your knees to go wide apart, or if it feels better to have your knees close together, that's fine too. And then you might try using a block under your forehead or a bolster. And then if it's comfortable, let your arms come to rest down outside of your legs, palms face up. And come back to the breath. Make any adjustments that are needed so you can spend the next few minutes here in child's pose completely relaxed. And tune into the sensations through your arms and shoulders from that last pose. Just following that feeling of energy within the body. Notice where your mind goes. And each time it goes someplace else, know that that's okay. It's natural. No need to fight away other thoughts. Just letting those thoughts remind you that you're thinking and that you can allow yourself to just be in the moment. Just be with the breath, with the body. And begin a slow rise up to your hands and knees. And for our next pose, you may want a bolster over toward the right side of your mat. You might not end up using the bolster, but we'll have it there just in case. You'll also want your blanket, have it folded up a little bit toward the top of your mat. That's going to be your pillow. And from table pose, step both knees over to your left and sink your hips down to your right. Now slowly extend the right arm out to the side of your mat, palm facing down. This might already bring quite a lot of stretch to the right shoulder. See if you can get the right cheek resting down to your blanket. Now you might just stay right here, and that is totally fine. If you want a little more stretch, especially for the hips, you can extend the left leg out behind you to rest on your bolster, and you might have to fidget with it a little bit to find the right spot. Your left leg can be fairly straight, but keep the right leg bent. And last piece here, if you want to add it, is to take your left arm and gently wrap it around your back. Now, if any of this feels like too much, definitely back up a bit. Add some more props if needed. And we'll stay here for about 2 minutes. Let your face be soft. And let each breath guide your awareness into your body. Breathing into these open spaces you've made. Breathing away any tension that's collected over the last few days or weeks. And to release from this pose, we just kind of rewind it. So start by taking the left arm from around your back if it's there. And then you can begin to slide the left leg in to meet the right. And press down into your left palm to lift your head, then your shoulder, and slide the arm in. And gradually make your way up to hands and knees, back to table. And take your time to bring your bolster to the other side. So if it was useful for you on the right side, you'll probably want it on the left as well. Let's step both knees over to the right side of the mat, and the hips sink down to the left. So this time the left arm slides out behind you, palm is facing down, shoulder toward the floor. And your cheek to a cushion, blanket or pillow. If this is a great place for you to stay, please stay here. For a bit more stretch, you can extend the right leg, reach it out behind you to rest on your bolster, and use your foot to move the bolster into the right angle, the right position for you. And this might be where you want to stay. Or if you want a little more opening for the heart, you can take your right arm around your back. Your palm will face out. Now make any adjustments that you need to make so your body feels at ease. Check in that your facial expression is soft. Your jaws are relaxed. Breathe your awareness into your body. And see if the whole body can follow that feeling of release with each exhale. And begin to gradually rewind. So we're taking the right arm from around the back if it's there. Bring your palm to your mat. And then bring the right leg to meet the left. Nice and slow. Press down into the right palm to lift your head, your shoulder. Take your time, easing back to table pose. Now for our next pose, Sleeping Swan, you might not need any props. You might need lots of props, so we'll just ease into it. Let's bring the right knee up toward the right wrist and angle your shin so that your toes are pointing to the left side of your mat. And then you can start to slide or wiggle the left leg back. So this is a lot like pigeon pose, pretty much the same thing. We're just going to be laying forward. So if you find that when your hips are sinking to the ground here, it's bothersome for your hips or for your knees, I recommend taking your bolster underneath your hips so it supports the right sit bone and the front of the left thigh. And then see about lowering down to maybe just the forearms on your mat or forehead to a block. Or you might even put your forearms on top of your block so that you stay lifted a bit higher. So take some time to kind of play around with all these different variations and make sure that you find a place where you can fully rest. The body can relax. And then come back to the breath. We'll be here for about 2 minutes. Lift your head and gradually slide your hands back to be underneath your shoulders. And with your back toes tucked under, you can start to slide the back knee forward. If you're using the bolster, you can put your knee right on top of your bolster. And then let's step the right knee back, coming into table pose. Feel free to keep both knees on the bolster if you know you want to use it for the other side of Sleeping Swan. And you can let your hips have a little rock from side to side, or maybe even little circles. Change directions if you're circling. And let's take our left knee forward from table pose. So the knee comes toward the wrist, the toes point over to the right, The angle of your shin is up to you. Some people like it parallel to the front of the mat. Some people like it more at an angle. So see what works for you. You can use your bolster again or some kind of cushion under the hips if you'd like, and slide the right leg back gradually until you find a comfortable place. And then you can start to slowly ease down to your elbows. Remember, you can put them on blocks. Even if you didn't on the first side, the side might be different. Listen to your body. Your forehead can rest down to a block or to your mat. You can even fold your forearms underneath your forehead. That feels great for some. And settle in. And follow the breath into your body. And being a new parent requires so much energy. There's so much movement, so much to do. So we take this time, this practice to just be. And each time you hear your mind starting to trail off with your list of things to do after you leave your practice, just remind yourself that you deserve this time, that you don't have to figure everything out right now. And come back to letting the mind be just as present and just as still as the body. Now begin to slowly walk your hands back. And this time we'll lean our weight onto the left hip so we can bring the right leg around. And you can scoot off of the bolster if you're sitting on one, coming to sit on your mat with your knees bent, legs out in front of you. And we're going to take this bolster underneath the knees. So if you don't have a bolster, feel free to use a blanket or a few blankets that are kind of rolled up to make something that's kind of the shape of a bolster. And for this next pose, supported fish, you'll either need 2 blocks to go behind you. One that's going to go parallel to your spine, and that's going to go between your shoulder blades. And then the other one is going to go perpendicular to that first one, and that's going to support your head. So you might have to reposition these blocks a bit, and that's totally fine. The other thing that you might use instead is a blanket that is rolled up a bit, and that might feel a little more subtle. So if this first variation with the blocks is too much, you can use the blanket instead. So once you've got your blocks behind you, just to help protect your abdominal muscles in case there's been any separation, you can roll to your side and come to one elbow and then roll around to the other elbow. And make sure that this block ends up right between the shoulder blades, nice and centered, and the other block underneath your head. So when you rest your upper back into this block, your arms should comfortably touch to the ground. Your palms can face up. Make sure that your bolster is in a position beneath the legs that allows your heels to touch the ground. If not, you might need to slide it back a little bit or use a smaller cushion. And then for some, it might feel good to actually take that block under the head and turn it down to its lower side so your head is tilted back a bit more. This is really great for opening up the neck and throat, opening up the chest after spending a lot of time rounded forward over your baby. And take a moment to scan the body for any spots where you're having to grip your muscles in order to feel comfortable here. And make the necessary changes that need to be made so that you can feel at ease for the next few minutes. And then simply be with your breath. Notice if your mind becomes busy, does that bring tension into your body? And if so, relax again. Let the face be soft, and the eyes heavy in their sockets. And feel that there is space between the two rows of teeth, the jaws and mouth very much at ease. Begin to bring your arms closer into your body, palms can touch down. Lift your head and press into your hands and arms to lift your torso up. And you can move your blocks off to the side or whatever was underneath you. And then again, you can roll to one side to come down onto your back. And on your back, you can move your bolster out of the way a bit, just slide it forward a bit, and we'll bring the knees to the chest and just take a moment to rock them side to side. Give your back a bit of a massage into the ground. And now let's take the feet down, either to the bolster or to the mat, either way is fine. And take the arms out either into a T shape, or you can bend at the elbows to make more of a cactus shape with the arms. And we'll take the right leg over the left, thigh over thigh, and press down into the left foot to shift your hips a little over to the right. Sink your knees down to the left, and you can turn your head to the right. If this cross of the legs is too much for your back or for your hips, just uncross the legs. Let them rest into each other. You could even put a blanket or bolster between your knees if your back is feeling achy here. And once you've made all the little adjustments that are needed, just let your body rest into the ground. Let your breath be full. Really follow the release of each exhale. Slowly unwind. You can uncross the legs, bring head and knees back to center, and realign your hips. And take some time in the middle to just feel the effects of that last twist. And then as you're ready, you can take your left thigh over the right one, shift your hips over to the left, and sink the knees down to the right, and head turns to the left this time. Remember that your body can be very different side to side, so add props or take different variations here, even if you didn't do the exact same on the first side. Once you feel settled in, take your time to be with your breath. And let each breath carry your awareness into your body. Appreciating this time that you've taken out of your day to honor and nourish your body. And bringing balance to the busyness of this phase of life with stillness. Slowly come back to the middle. Uncross your legs. Realign your hips. And once more, take the knees toward your chest, and you can slowly sway the knees from side to side. Or maybe draw little circles with the knees. Massaging your back again into the ground. Now you can extend your legs forward. You might want to use your bolster underneath your knees. And we'll take Shavasana. So legs extended, arms open to the side. The body is symmetrical and relaxed. Add any additional props that you feel you need for comfort. Maybe a cushion under the head. And once you feel settled, take a deep breath in and hold it in for a few seconds. And let the breath out like a big sigh. Do this twice more. Once more. Now let the breath find its own pattern. Let go of all of your effort. And allow yourself these last few minutes to just be completely symmetrical, completely still, completely at ease. Letting your body replenish itself. Letting the mind empty. And it's natural, of course, for the mind to wander. Just notice if your thoughts bring tension to your body. And if so, just practice letting that tension go. Letting yourself be soft. And feel free to stay in Shavasana longer. Or if you're ready to come up, take a slow, deep breath. And begin wiggling fingers and toes. You can circle your hands and feet, maybe stretch your arms and legs. And then roll carefully to your side. And take a breath or two there. And as you're ready, make your way to a seat. Sit any way that feels comfortable for you. And we'll take a moment to end this practice with hands in prayer, a symbol of gratitude, or if it feels best to just leave your hands in your lap, that's fine too. And thank yourself for taking this time out of your day to honor and nurture your mind, your body, and your breath. And thank you so much for practicing. Namaste.